Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio, and today we've got a new Terastal Pokémon EX to talk about, and a bunch of people are going to be happy, because Dedenne is a very, very popular Pokémon indeed. And it is really worth noting before we get rolling here, this is coming out in Triple Beat. And we did see that in Scarlet EX and Violet EX, there was only actually one Terastal Pokemon in each set. Now, I think there is a decent chance there's two in a mini set, but there's only going to be one or two maximum. So, I hope you enjoy this one, because there might be another one in this set, or there might not, but I feel fairly confident there won't be a third. So, Dedenne EX, what have we got? Well, it's a Terastal Pokemon, which means we've got the usual rule, which says as long as it's on your bench, you prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks. All Terastal Pokemon have this, and if I may say so, it's fine. It is far from game-breaking. Now, we do have 170 HP, and right off the bat, this is terrible. This is horrendous. Now, it is worth bearing in mind that it's still only a 2-prize Pokemon, but it's still 170 HP on a 2-prize Pokemon. Like, Mimikyu was 190, and Mimikyu is terrible, in terms of HP at least. This has 170, this is absolute garbage. But then again, we had Dedenne GX, which had very low HP, and that didn't stop that seeing a huge amount of play. Oh, I should say we've got some other cards to look at here, one of which is very surprising and awesome. But to go back to Dedenne, we've got 2 Psychic Energy, Tail Swap. Move all damage counters from one of your bench Pokemon to your opponent's active Pokemon. Delighted to say I did translate this myself. I don't want to tell you how long it took me, but I am delighted to say I did it myself, and then checked with a lovely Antoine Boulet just in case. And the thing which I think is really, really important with this attack, you are not moving the damage from Dedenne, you are moving the damage from one of your bench Pokemon. Because Dedenne is very small, and Dedenne is very easily KO'd. And this is essentially where Dedenne comes in for me. What I want to do with Dedenne is I want to play it when I've got a damaged Pokemon, I want to switch it into the active, and then I want to be immediately switching that damage off. And I'm seeing this as a tech in Gardevoir. You got to bear in mind this is a basic Pokemon, which is very, very important. And in Gardevoir decks, I could see this working. This could work, ladies and gentlemen. This could work. Because you see, Gardevoir does not have an embarrassingly low amount of HP. What Gardevoir's got, I mean, it's a Stage 2 EX, right? And when you're a Stage 2 EX, you get a certain amount of bulk. How much? 310. That's a lot. And I'm not saying Gardevoir's never going to be one-hit KO'd, but I am saying that with the format we're moving into, Pokemon really seem to be pushing towards 2-hit KOs. We're not seeing quite so many giant attacks on these Pokemon, and HPs are going up, and that means that we should be seeing fewer one-hit KOs and more multiple-hit KOs. So in a Gardevoir deck, what we're basically doing here is saying, right, well, you've attacked my Gardevoir, you've done, I don't know, 250 damage, I'm going to whack Dedenne up now, and not only am I completely healing off my damaged Gardevoir on the bench, but I'm also KOing one of yours. And this is a fantastically situational Pokemon. You're not going to make a Dedenne deck, let's be clear. Dedenne is an occasional tech in other Psychic decks. Oh, I should mention, the other reason it's so good in Gardevoir is because Gardevoir has an attack that lets you attach a basic Psychic from your discard to one of your basic Pokemon as often as you like during your turn, and put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. Couple of things to note about this ability. First of all, it means you can drop basic Dedenne, use this ability, attach for turn, and then attack immediately, i.e. you can drop it as a surprise, which for a Pokemon like this is really important. But secondly, if you've got a damaged Pokemon on the bench, but you still need like 60 more damage in order to swap and get a KO, you can just use Gardevoir's ability 3 times, and then you've got enough damage to swap over. You can essentially use Gardevoir's ability to further damage one of your Pokemon so that Dedenne can move damage over and KO. Now, it is only to the active, and the big downside of Dedenne, and it is a big downside, you got 170 HP and you're stuck in the active. For at least one of your opponent's turns, there's a very good chance you're getting KO'd. And I'm not saying it's like a guaranteed thing, I'm not saying it's a given or anything like that, but I absolutely am saying there is a very good chance that when you use this, you will get KO'd. So make it count. Essentially, what you're doing with Dedenne, at least as far as I'm concerned, a lot of the time what you're doing is you are healing off a Pokemon you really want to heal, while getting a KO and giving up Dedenne to do that. And there'll be times Dedenne survives and that's going to be lovely. But I don't think we can rely on Dedenne surviving. I don't think Dedenne's beefy enough. I don't think it's got enough HP. I don't think that is going to work often enough. So essentially what you do here is you use this to get a KO while healing a Pokemon you really want to keep alive. And then if Dedenne survives, yay, happy bonus time. But we don't rely on it because we know there is a very decent chance it's going to go away. And that's Dedenne. That's where we are. And you know what? For that niche use, I really like it. In a vacuum, I don't like this attack at all. But in a Gardevoir deck where you can get this basic Pokemon rolling in one go, where you can heal off a big Pokemon like Gardevoir while taking a KO, yeah, I like this quite a bit. I don't like the second attack, free energy, 170 discard energy from this Pokemon. No, if you're using that attack, something's gone wrong. Dedenne is not meant to do that. Dedenne is meant to swap damage over, and in that regard, it can be good. The fact that you're moving damage from any of your bench Pokemon up is brilliant. Incidentally, it has to be from your bench Pokemon. It cannot be from Dedenne. And the fact that you can be healing and getting a KO is great, but that is all you're doing with Dedenne, let's be perfectly clear. Now, we do luckily have a couple of, score between 3 and 4 Wassies. When I give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. I'm leaning towards 4, but I don't think I'm ready to go there yet. Not a great card in a vacuum, but as its own thing could be very, very good indeed. You know, as a little tech in like a Gardevoir deck. Now, there are some other cards we need to talk about, and I think we need to talk about Ghetsis first. Because Ghetsis might look a bit familiar. You might kind of recognize the name. You might look at that text and think that looks a little bit familiar. It is very literally Boss's Orders Ghetsis. That's what we've got. The last Boss's Orders we got was your Cyrus, and now we've got Boss's Orders Ghetsis. And you know what? This is actually really important, because this tells us Pokemon mean business. You know, Boss's Orders, Cyrus came through with a regulation mark of F, and here we've got Boss's Orders Ghetsis, which comes through with a regulation mark of G. It means we get one more year of Boss's Orders. Except at this stage, does anybody actually think we're getting one more year of Boss's Orders? Because I really don't. Like, at all. I think this is just the next year of Boss's Orders, and I'm sure that by the time we get to about a year's time, we're going to have another one. And for somebody like me that adores Gen 5, Ghetsis is cool. I love me some Gen 5, and Ghetsis is kind of a cool character, and this is nice. This is good. If you don't like Ghetsis, it's fine, ladies and gentlemen, because you know what? There's like a billion others out there. So don't worry your pretty little heads about it. There are plenty of others. I don't have much to say about this. It's Boss's Orders. We all know how good it is. We've all seen it played a billion times. Being able to switch one of your opponent's bench when they're active, pick off, you know, a bench Pokemon you really want to get rid of. This is awesome. But it's been awesome for a long time since we got Boss's Orders. So it's as good as it ever was. And now it's staying around for longer, and that's kind of a big deal. And then we finish off today. I probably should mention, just quickly, there is a new Miss Maggia. And I mean quickly, because I don't think it's terribly good. What we've got here is 90 HP, which is low, 2 energy 60, which is bad, and an ability, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may move an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon to one of their bench. So you've got a little bit of energy disruption here. The problem is, it's a one-shot deal. It's not every turn, it is just when you play this Pokemon to evolve. So ideally, what you really want to do is have 2 or 3 of these kind of working in tandem and just, well, stream them. And get all of your opponent's energy they want on the active onto their bench and then kind of chuckle. Problem is, first, it can be played around. Don't bench Pokemon you don't want energy on. Some decks can play around it easily, some decks can't. But secondly, we've lost Scoop Up Net. And if you want to be streaming something like this, the absolute best way to stream it is Scoop Up Net. And we don't have that here, which means it's just so much more awkward, and that's basically kind of where we are. It's not a bad ability, but if you're only using it once, I'm not sure it's a particularly good ability, if I'm honest with you. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm giving this between 2 and 3 Wassies. When I give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. I really don't like this one. I am sorry. But the good news is, we do have Boss's Orders Ghetsis, which is very important regardless how you feel about it, and Terastal Dedenne GX, which isn't the best card ever, but certainly has some niche uses which could make it very good. But now, ladies and gentlemen, it's over to you guys. I want to know what you think about these cards. I want to know all your thoughts. I want to know anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassie. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord and chat with us, all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.